everyone, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Something Else podcast. My name is Gabriella, and this is my guest,
Nakima.
betterly known as Kima,
Kima.
affectionately known as. She is a career beautician. Y'all know this mic. What's going on, y'all? But she's a career beautician, and I want us to get into a great conversation that I know is highly anticipated because everyone's talking about it. But before we get into that, you guys already know what time it is. It's the affirmation of the week. Let's see what we got here. These are by Intelligent Change, by the way. If you see this, sponsor us. So this one says, I listen more than I speak. Well, I have to. I interview people. This is what I do. So I have to listen more than I speak. But so I wanted to bring you on for this conversation because I feel like, first of all, you've been in this game for a while now.
Yes.
So I wanted to kind of get your insight and your opinion on the new age, new school versus old age hairstylists. But if you could give us a brief rundown of how Glowbal Essence started, where you started.
Okay, so Glowbal Essence, the brand, or how did Kima start?
How did Kima start in Glowbal
Okay,
Essence?
so Kima started at the age of 16. I started assisting at my aunt's salon, Chanel for Hair, shout out to her. And I was her assistant. She trained me, she taught me hair care. That's what I really I started with. I started with just hair care, relaxers, washes. And when I started assisting her, I realized that it's something that I loved. Okay, wait, let me go back. Let me go back. Before I started assisting her, my mother is actually a cosmetologist.
Okay.
So when I was a little girl, I used to go to Carroll City High School, and I used to watch my mom in cosmetology school. We used to be in the high school waiting for her to get out of school. So it started with my mother. And then as I got older after school, I needed, to make extra money after school. I wanted to do my own thing. I was always really mature. And my aunt offered me a job with her. And that's how I started working with her. And she taught me professionalism. She taught me hair care. She was a very inspiring. So I looked up to her. And I was like, wait a minute, I love doing this. I love to see people's reactions after their hair gets done. And I'm just a people person. I love to just put smiles on faces.
It's true.
It does something for me. So, so I started out assisting at the age of 19. I went to Miami Lakes Tech. I got my cosmetology license, and I began to do hair on my own as a hairstylist on commission working in her salon. And then after that, I worked with her for 8 years, from 16 on up, and then I branched off and I started Glowbal Essence.
Okay.
I think at the age of, 24?
So if we subtract, add, and multiply, let's say you got more than 10 years in the game.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to get at.
Yes.
So y'all know she's reputable because she look new. She's not new. This is a veteran here in the seat.
Yes.
So I kind of wanted to get your opinion on where do you feel the hair game is at right now? Because I feel like me and my friend were having this conversation, and we said the beauty field, the hair game has more hustlers than business owners. And I feel like there's a big difference because as a business owner, like you said, you had to learn professionalism.
Right.
You had to learn these hands-on skills. And for the hustlers, it's kind of I need you in and out this chair.
It is.
I need $5 a day. So where do you feel everything is at right now?
I do feel like everything is different. As far as the new and the upcoming hairstylists, from what my clients tell me and new clients tell me, that there is a lack of professionalism in our industry. A lot of hairstylists don't have licenses, so you have a lot of girls that's making money and hustling just off the strength. They're not really licensed. They haven't been to cosmetology school, but they're talented, and I salute the young girls coming up and that's making it a business, because in this day and age it's really hard, to survive. Everything is so expensive. So
true.
It has its pros and its cons, but the lack of professionalism, I hear stories where you can't get your hair washed. You got to come washed, blown out.
Don't forget the fees. We didn't get started on the fees yet.
Listen, it's, and then, for me, I feel like every client deserves an experience when they come to a hair salon and they're sitting with their hairstylist. It should be an experience. They should feel like when you tell them the price at the end of that service, they should feel like, here you go, and I want to tip you on top of that. They shouldn't feel like they've been cheated, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I mean that's the difference between professional hairstylists and just the hairstylist that's getting it off the muscle, and just it is a difference. It is.
So what does it look like to create an experience? And if y'all are listening, I need y'all to listen up.
Well, I feel like creating the experience is from the door. Well, before the door, when you interact with your client, when they call for the first consultation, listening, as you said in your affirmations, is very important to listen to what the client wants. Um, Being on time. I can't say that I'm always on time, but if I'm not on time, I'm making up for it. I'm doing the best wash. I'm giving you an extended head massage. I'm offering you water, wine, tea. I'm making up for it. And then of course your hair is going to be laid. It's going to be clean. Your scalp is going to feel refreshed. You're going to feel renewed. So that's the experience that I give my clients. You don't feel like you're just another number. I take my time with you, even though my clients say they love that I get them in and out, but it's still a great relaxing experience.
True.
We're playing Anita Baker, we're playing R&B. It's a vibe at Glowbal Essence.
It is.
It's a vibe.
So starting out, like you gain the fundamentals working with, I think you mentioned it was your mom, she's a cosmetologist, and
Yes.
another family member. How important is it to like get those fundamentals first? Because sometimes I feel like, especially the younger generation, like even me, I'd be like, one way to the top, get me there quickly, no delays. I need to go fast. But like, how important is it just to get like the fundamentals first before you start like really going up?
It's extremely important because, like I said, you have to know the basics first, the chemistry of the hair, of especially African American hair. Like a lot of clients, they'll come. This is like just a side note, but they'll come and they say, "Oh, I want my hair bleached blonde," and they just got a relaxer 2 weeks ago. Some stylists will do it because they don't know. They don't know the chemistry of the hair. That would take your hair out completely. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like I think going to school and having a mentor, someone that you can look up to, is so important when you're dealing with hair care. Now, extensions like braids and weaves is a little bit different, but now the new thing is lace fronts. Listen,
If you ain't got a wig, you nobody.
if you ain't got a lace front, you not popping. This is the new time in the era. Back then, we didn't. I still don't. I've never had a lace front on my head, and I don't feel it's nothing wrong with that, but you still have to take care of your hair. I'm big on that, like keeping your edges, like your edges.
Yeah.
But
Because
yeah.
some of the edges down here. If it's back here, then what does that, for me, like, what does that mean? Because even me, I put on a wig one time and I took it off and I was like, I had the tan line and then I seen some breakage and I said, wait a minute. I know my mouth is not that big for my hairline to be running away. So what's going on here?
You have a lot of stylists that specialize in installing lace fronts and they do an extremely great job. But then you have those who don't really understand hair care, and that's where things go left.
So for you, what does it look like over the years coming into contact with all these different people? How do you maintain just not getting like burnt out, like not getting just feeling like, ugh, like, because sometimes when you have a passion and you continuously doing it, sometimes you can feel like a little drained. So how do you maintain that equilibrium?
I'm going to be completely honest with you. There has been times in my career where I felt extremely burnt out. There's been times where I didn't want to go to work. Like the thought of getting up, going to the salon, it was hard for me, because I was overworked. Just coming up. See, the thing is with doing hair is you can make so much money doing hair that when a client calls, you want to just take them because you running up those numbers.
Yeah.
But you don't understand what it does to the physical part of your body and the mental. It's extremely draining. Like you're on your feet for 12 to 15 hours a day. You're dealing with 10 to 15 clients, different spirits, different attitudes, different emotions. I love my clients. So if my clients are going through something, I'm going to feel it, So you take on things that you don't even realize, spiritual things. You take on emotional thing. It's just a lot. So I was burnt out. Like and that's why now I only work 3 days a week
I
because
saw that. I checked the calendar.
yeah.
I saw it. I was like, wait a
I
second.
only work 3 days a week because I believe that you should live more than you work, and that's with anything that you do. Life is so precious, and I just feel like you should enjoy your life more than you're working. That's just my philosophy, and I stand on that. But it took me a long time to get here because I used to work like crazy, 5 days a week, 15 hours a day. And when I get home, yeah, I mean, my bank account looks nice, but I'm exhausted. I can't hang with my family. I'm neglecting my nieces and my nephew, just not having family time, and it was too much. It was.
So do you think like over the years of coming into contact with all these different people and going through all these different experiences, that's what kind of made you want to prioritize more like holistic care, like really focusing on your mental? Because if you don't know, now you know. My girl's into holistic care, honey. We'll be linking below. So where did that turning point come for you where like I just want to like really dive deep into taking care of my body and my mind too, of course.
Yeah. So, with working so hard, I said, okay, Kima, you have to have some type of balance because I started feeling physically sick. Um, I did, and I went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, "You're fine. You just need to. You're working too hard." My pressure was a little high, and it was because I was just on the go, on the go, on the go. So I said, you know what? I have to take care of myself first. So I got a trainer. I started working out. I really started studying Dr. Sebi. Like he became like a huge inspiration to me. Like
Mm-hmm.
I started getting his books from Amazon. I was doing a lot of research, and that's how I came up with how to eat. Don't get it twisted. I eat. I eat and I love food, but I think everything should be done in moderation, and you should
Yeah,
have balance, and you should eat healthier than you eat bad, if that makes sense.
that
So
makes perfect sense.
exactly. So I eat most of the time I'm eating clean, but I do have my days where I eat where I want because you have to have balance and you have to be happy and do the things that you love. But alkaline water was a huge part of my diet. Um, Different herbs and different teas. The teas that I sell now is for the woman's body. It lowers your estrogen. When your estrogen is too high, it can cause cancer, it can cause fibroids. So I just studied Dr. Sebi and I really started to live it.
And where does the discipline come from? Because I know for me, like, I have a problem with sugar. And I realize people talk about it's an addiction. And I'm like, why I start itching after a few days? Like,
Yeah, it's an addiction.
I realize that, like, I have to have something sweet every day.
Yeah. Um
Or is it like a mind thing?
it is. It's a mind thing, and it's how bad do you want it? Cuz it was a point in my life for maybe a year and a half. I didn't eat any meat for 6 months. I was focused for a year and a half. I drank a gallon of water a day because I didn't want to. Me personally, I rather do what I need to do to take care of my body than have the doctors tell me what I have to do.
Yeah.
So as you get older, I'm in my, I'm a little older.
She's in her 20s.
You just change. Gabby, you still young, so but as you get older, your body, you can feel it. Like, okay, wait, like I wasn't feeling like this before. You just want better for your body. You want to live a healthier lifestyle. It doesn't say that you're gonna live till you're 120, but you want to, while you're here, you want to be healthy. You want to feel good. I like to feel good. I'm an energy kind of person. So when my energy is low, I'm like, oh no, I got to get in the gym. I got to drink more water. I got to take my vitamins. I love having high energy, So, yeah.
And then we talk about feeling good, work-life balance. Because especially now in this stage, like, I'm seeing it more, especially after the pandemic. People's work-life balance has gotten like a lot better. Like I feel like before the pandemic, it was just like everybody's go, 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 go.
Yes.
Like, but now after, it's kind of like I'm not gonna be overworking myself.
Exactly. And it showed you, not to cut you off, it showed you during the pandemic how much things we don't need. Like, before COVID, I used to be online saying I gotta shop, I gotta buy this, I have to do this. But during COVID, we wasn't able to hang out, things were closed, and you realize that in life, you really just need love, you need family, you need food. You don't really need everything else. You know what I mean? So with COVID, it opened my eyes to a lot of things. Just my red bottle of Merlot is fine for me, and some
That's
Anita
it.
Baker.
And that's it. Because I know a lot of people even talk about like, oh, I wish we can go back to the pandemic. And of course, like sometimes you don't really see what's kind of wrong when you're in the situation. But afterward, even I was like, man, we were just sitting at home, just chilling. It was just so relaxing. They were sending out the stimmies. Like,
yes,
we was getting paid to sit at home.
Yes.
Like, and now inflation is so high, so you have to work more.
You have to work more.
And I'm like, what just happened here? So for people who are service providers or, you know, business owners, like, how do you maintain your work-life balance? I know you said you only do 3 days out the week now, but like, how do you maintain it and discipline yourself to maintain it? I hope you are enjoying this week's video. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any new uploads. Now back to the episode.
It's mandatory for me because for so many years I didn't do it. I have online booking now, and before I didn't have that. Remember, Gab, when I first started, my clients was calling or texting me, and I don't know how to say no. I'm just learning how to say no maybe a year or two ago, you know? So I will overwork, and now I make sure I book my spa appointments, my massage appointments, so nothing is getting in the way of that. I make sure I have my time on the beach. I make sure I'm traveling. I just make sure that I'm living, because that's what it's about.
She's right.
That's definitely what it's about. Like, yeah. And then I have different businesses too, so I have to manage. I don't just have Glowbal Essence. I have Glowbal Yachts.
I was just about to get into that.
You know, I have Glowbal Yachts, so that takes a lot of my time as well. I love the water, so for me, I just saved my little coins, and I said one day I'm gonna buy me a boat, and that's what I did.
So how did you? So I know your love of the waters. So like, how did you get into like the yacht business?
Well, every year, anyone that knows me, every year I would say for the last 5 to 6 years on my birthday, I would rent a yacht. Mm-hmm. And I used to be $1,600, almost $2,000 for the yacht. And I said, one day I'm going to get me a yacht. Because I love, like, when I say I love the water, I love, like, it doesn't matter what I'm going through. If I go to the beach and I love the water. So I was like, I'm going to get me a yacht one day. So I started doing research, going online. I'm like, okay, this is in my price range, you know, So I just started saving. I got disciplined. I started saving. And I just said, I got the yacht. I manifested it. I told God what I wanted, and he gave it to me.
So now that you mentioned the yachts, so starting off in hair, you were able to use hair to start all these different businesses. So focus. How important is focus? Because sometimes I feel like, I'm not too sure if it's just my generation, but we're trying to do like a million things at once and just trying to hit the lottery. But sometimes I feel like you have to be focused on one thing for it to get strong enough so you can start putting your hands in other things.
I feel like a lot of people, especially with social media, is trying to capitalize on so many different things and not just focusing on one thing. Because if you focus on one thing and you build that up, you can have a multitude of things, you know what I mean? So that's what I did. I stuck with it. And another thing I want to say is, it's not about how much money you make. It's about what you do with the money you make.
And let's say that again. Tap, tap. Is this thing on? It's on.
Yeah, it's definitely not about how much money you make. It's about what you do with the money you make.
True.
You know, like how I didn't know how important credit was until I got in my 30s. Until on my 30th birthday is when I personally started doing research on how to build my credit. Because in my 20s, I had okay credit, but it wasn't how my credit is now. Yeah. And my mom and dad used to tell me, like, don't mess up your credit. But you can say something, but teaching someone is different and experiencing it. So I just wanted more for myself. And I said, I can't be a 30-year-old woman and have bad credit. So I started focusing on that YouTube, Google, just really studying, like not knowing that using 10% of your credit cards will skyrocket your credit score within 6 months. Little stuff like that they don't want us to know.
Seriously though.
Yeah, they don't. They say 30%, but it's really, you should only use 10% of your credit if you want really good credit. Yeah, I can get, yeah.
Those things are really not discussed. Like, I'm 23 and I'd be like beating myself up like, I need to get this together. What's going on here? But like you mentioned, like kind of just like going through the experience yourself. Because my mom would tell me too, like, you know, make sure you keep everything good. Mm-hmm. Like, And I feel like also with financial literacy, and this is important even in business too, because
Yes.
if you don't know where, like you could be working, you don't know where your money's going.
At
You
all.
look back and you're like, where's all my money?
Listen, if I would have known what I've known now in my 20s, I'll be a multimillionaire. Not just a millionaire, but a multimillionaire, you know? And yeah, just knowing, doing research, like, sometimes I have to tell myself, okay, Key, stop strolling. Let's go on YouTube. Let's Google some stuff. Let's watch different
Discipline.
podcasts and financial literacy programs and things that you can buy for $9.99, things that you can learn, you know? So it's important to keep educating yourself constantly. Educating yourself. Like, okay, if you want to stroll on Instagram, do that for probably an hour a day. And the other time, give yourself an hour and a half to research, to study your craft inside and out. And you'll be successful for sure.
That's so true. Like honing your craft is like a real thing. Like I think that people think that talent will get you talent can only get you so far.
Talent can only get you so far. Talent is, that's just the basics. That's not going to get you, you have to know how to manage your time, how to manage your money, how to treat people. A lot of people are talented and they don't know how to treat people. So whatever energy you put out is what you're going to get back.
One. That is a big one. Like
Yeah.
treating people nicely. That is the reason why I kept coming back to Kima. I'm like, she does my hair good. She's good to be around. I'm like, I remember I went to this one girl, just as a story off the top of my head. And when I went in, she didn't even, this was an emergency. I couldn't book you, so I had to book her. And then she didn't even say hi to me. She just looked at me and then was just doing someone else's hair. And I'm like, okay. After that, my hair broke off.
Oh my God, Gab.
Had to trim the whole thing into a bob. The hair broke right off. I was like, what just happened here? So when you hear that, like service providers, like providing a good experience, that's what keeps the business like coming back.
It does, for sure.
For somebody watching this who's a business owner, a service provider, is in any kind of trade, what are some words of wisdom or words of advice that you would give them?
For business owners, what did you say? I'm sorry. Gab.
Or anyone who's in a trade, like
in a trade. Okay.
Hairstylists.
I would say master good customer service and never stop learning, for sure. Because those two things would take you so far. Just mastering customer service, treating people good. Your name is everything, so you can be talented, but if you're not putting good energy out into the universe, what's the point of doing it, So master good customer service and continue learning. You got to keep up with what's going on. It's like time is changing like every day, so you got to keep up with what is out, what is hot. With me, what I do, I feel like it's timeless, because after the wigs come off and after all, people want hair care, people want to feel good. So people want to go into an establishment and feel good. They want to get their hair washed. They want to just experience global,
See the
So it's
results. The hair was
timeless.
over here, y'all. Before she was the baldy, the hair was
The
here.
results, yeah, just the experience. So yeah, that's what I would say.
And what does learning look like? Because I think a lot of the time people identify learning with, I'm going back to school. But there's different ways that you can learn. And what are a few ways that you've learned?
Trial and error, number one. But I don't miss a hair show. I don't miss a hair show. I take classes yearly. I take maybe 3 to 4 classes every year. I do a lot of research online. I see what the greats are doing, and I become greater. So I rarely watch my peers. It may sound a little weird, but I always shoot for the stars. So I focus on, okay, this person has been a cosmetologist and a hairstylist for the last 20 years, and she's a multimillionaire. She has a product line. She's doing this. She's having classes. I need to be there. So that's what I focus on.
Okay.
I focus on the greats.
I love that. And then also for people, because I know sometimes people are like, oh, I don't have the money. Like, there's so much you can learn, like, just from, like, free sources, like YouTube. Like, I know that you mentioned you even had, like, a mentor.
Yeah, I had a mentor. My aunt was my mentor. I would say definitely working. Okay, see, the problem is nowadays with this new generation, nobody wants to be the student. Everybody wants to be the boss.
Didn't Kim K say it? Nobody wants to work.
Nobody, like nobody wants to be the student. Me coming up, I wanted to be the student. You know, that's what I did. I watched and I learned and I observed and I asked questions. Everybody wants to. I arrived, and you don't even know enough to say that you arrived. So that's where the problem comes in with this new generation. You know, nobody wants to work for anyone. Everybody wants to do their own, which is a great mindset to have, an awesome mindset to have, like to be an entrepreneur. But you have to learn. You have to be a student in order to become the teacher, in order to become the boss, the leader. You have to be submissive to something, and I feel like that's where the industry lacks.
And that's like not even a negative thing to want to be a student. There's nothing wrong with being humble.
It's nothing. Listen, I'm humble every day. Like I give people their flowers every day. Even people who look up to me and who I inspire. You know, I just feel like you can learn from anyone. You know what I mean? Like you can learn from anyone, and that's the problem. Like we don't want to learn from people who we feel, girl, listen. Me and my friend was just talking about how social media has become so, what's the word that I'm looking for?
Toxic?
Very, there you go. So toxic that to me, to find a genuine person, like truly genuine, not putting on for the gram, not, is so rare nowadays because everybody wants to be the boss. And if they're not the boss, they're acting like the boss. And it's okay to say, I don't know this. It's okay to say, you know, I'm trying to figure it out. It's okay to not have all the all the answers, and to ask questions to the greats. Girl, I ask, listen, I be in people's DM, I be, who? And they looking at, oh, this is Glowbal Essence, but Glowbal Essence has not arrived. And I feel like in life, you never truly arrive.
True.
You have to constantly
keep learning.
Constantly. It doesn't stop. The day that you stop is the day that your business,
that's it.
It's over. You gotta keep learning.
That you said that. I so love that you said that. Like you really honestly have to. Life is about growth. Like if you want to stop growing, I think they say if you stop growing, you die. Like exactly. I don't want to die.
Exactly.
So let's keep growing.
Okay, we want to live till we 100.
Like seriously, like you see people on social media, like, and it's so easy to kind of start. Oh, this person has this amount of followers, or they're doing this person's hair, or they're working with this person. Mm-hmm. It's so easy to kind of get caught up in that. But how many times do we got to say this? Social media, a lot of it is smoke and mirrors.
It is.
Like, you can easily go rent a Rolls Royce, take some pictures. You could easily go buy some red bottoms and return it. You could,
and don't let followers fool you. A lot of people have followers, they get thousands of likes, and they don't really have much going on. If you pull up, because numbers don't lie. If you pull up the numbers and you compare it to someone that is diligent and that is really focused on what they're doing, I guarantee you the numbers ain't gonna even weigh out. So it doesn't really matter about the likes and the hype. It's about the numbers.
It really is, because you have to be able to actually have those numbers be producing a result. Because then if it's not,
you got 10,000 likes, but your credit not good. Let's be honest for a second. You don't got.
We're honest.
Credit.
We're here.
You don't have good credit. You don't have. So yeah. Give me 2 likes and the knowledge, the wisdom, the wealth, the humbleness, the gratitude, the love. Keep that if I gotta be a different person.
Truly. And
straight up.
You heard it from the horse's mouth. Because Global Yachts, the teas, the business, it all speaks for itself. Because you can have all of that and still have, some people have all of that and have nothing really going on.
Nothing really going on.
So we look at fruits over here, just so you know, courtesy of the Something Else podcast. But thank you so much for coming on. This was such a good conversation.
Yes.
Where can the people find you?
You can find me on Glowbal Essence _ that's GLOWBALESSENCE. Make sure you add the W. It's Glowbal Essence _ Thank you.
And then, guys, you know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe. And you can find us at the Something Else Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and on Instagram. And we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.